everyone, and welcome to the Bold and Beautiful podcast. I'm your host, Amanda, and I've titled this week's episode, Your Time is Up. Now, I know that last week I said that I was not going to change the Death March music until the storyline changed or my mood changed. But to be honest, I'm in a really good mood because some very exciting things happened this week. Also, I really wanted to give y'all a little break from all the sadness and just give you a little bit of cheer, because what happens this week on the show is anything but cheerful. And if you haven't heard already, then I'm about to upset you guys again. I apologize in advance. Okay, so let's get into my news and why I am in such a good mood. In case you missed last week's episode, I did a shout out for the Bold and Beautiful Rewind podcast, which is hosted by James Lott Jr. Long story short, he contacted me and asked me to be on his podcast as a guest. So I'm freaking out. I'm super excited. All week I was like fangirling out, and he was exactly how I was expecting him to be. He was extremely sweet, very gracious, and very helpful. I will totally admit that I was very nervous because I've never been on another podcast before as a guest, but he immediately made me feel completely comfortable and at ease. And by the time we got done recording, I felt like I was just talking to an old friend about the soap opera. I felt like I'd known him for years. And it was such a great experience. I had so much fun. And here's some more news. He agreed to come on our podcast, which I'm super excited about. We have to work out the logistics. As soon as I know, I'll let you know. But he agreed to come on our podcast. So hopefully in a few weeks, we'll have him on here. That way we can ask him all kinds of questions that I'm dying to ask him. So make sure you check that out. It's called the Bold and Beautiful Rewind podcast, and it will be out, I believe, Thursday. That's all the news that I have for this week, but I do want to remind you guys to please get in touch. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, or you can also get in touch through my website at theboldandbeautifulpodcast.com. I really want to hear what you guys think about what's happening in the bold and the beautiful world right now. All right, guys, enough with the chit chat. Let's get to the recap. So that brings us into Monday, January the 21st. Happy Martin Luther King Day, everyone. The show opens at Wyatt's beach house with Wyatt and Sally. And Sally still feels really bad about what happened with Hope. She feels that she made things worse instead of better. It takes Wyatt a little bit of convincing, but he does finally make Sally feel better about everything because he assures her that Hope and Liam understand her intentions were only good. Then, of course, they get intimate as usual. These two are adorable. I have no problem with that. After they're done being intimate, they shared some ice cream, and they both agreed how much they love each other. Guys, in this day and time in the soap opera world, where it's so sad and so dark lately, I will take any joy I can get. So I'm extremely happy for these two. Now we head over to Katie's house with Katie and Thorne, and they're in their bedroom about to go to bed. Katie is a little bit worried about how Thorne might feel about Bill being in their lives so much now. Thorne assures Katie that he is okay with Will spending time with Bill. And then Thorne, his facade starts to slip a little bit. His perfect facade he always has is starting to slip a little, and his insecurities are starting to show. He comments that Katie is also warming up to Bill, and he wants her to admit that she likes this new and improved Bill. Katie's a little taken aback, but her answer is really good. She says that everyone likes the new Bill, not just her. And really, what is he going to say to that? Because it's true. So then they both wonder out loud if Bill's transformation is real. And they both really hope it's real for Will's sake. So basically, Thorne admits that he has his own baggage and that he misses his daughter and his wife. But he is really happy that they are all getting along and he loves being a part of her little family. Then Katie tells him that he doesn't need to worry. She feels the same way and he is not going to lose her. I'm watching this scene and I go, oh no. In my head, it's like dun dun dun, because famous last words. I just feel like there may be trouble in paradise for Katie and Thorne. Now we head over to the cabin with Hope and Liam. Hope gets it now. She gets that Sally was only trying to help and that her intentions were good. And she even feels really bad for reacting so harsh with Sally. But Liam completely understands, and he thinks that for a while they probably will react to lots of things differently than they normally would. And Hope is worried that the way they are now might last forever. So Liam tries to make Hope feel better. He makes Hope promise not to shut out the world. They both discuss how they are scared because Beth has changed them both forever, but that they have to get through this together. And poor Hope, she tries to explain to Liam her strange feelings, almost as if Beth is still there, like she still feels her presence. And it's a mother's intuition, but it's really hard for her to put into words, which then causes another sobbing breakdown. And this is really, really hard to watch. And that's how Monday ends. Sorry guys, I told you it was going to be sad. So that brings us into Tuesday, January the 22nd. The show opens at Steffi's house with Steffi, Taylor, and Kelly. Steffi is still thinking about adopting, and she is really leaning towards adopting Flo's baby. Taylor agrees that she thinks it's a great idea, like it was meant to be. Taylor does want Steffi to really think this through, because it's a very big decision. But Steffi assures her that's all she's been doing is thinking about it. And she has decided that she is ready. She feels like it's meant to be. Especially because she's been missing Phoebe a lot lately. And Steffi tells Taylor that Liam is being supportive, but she is not sure how Hope will react. She is really worried that the timing may be hurtful to Hope. Almost like a constant reminder. You think, Steffi? Really? You think? Hello? Now we head over to the cabin with Hope and Brooke is encouraging Hope to get out of the house and maybe go to the office for a couple of hours just to get her mind off of things and keep her brain busy. But Hope is not up to it. Brooke explains that even though this is a tragedy, life must go on. But Hope does not want to hear any of it. It's too soon. This has really changed Hope. She feels like she can't go back to hope for the future because she no longer believes in the message. Then she starts to blame herself again, which is completely normal in the grieving process, but extremely sad and hard to watch. So Brooke feels so helpless. She wants to help, but like everyone else, she has no idea how. So Hope admits that because of all of this pain, she feels like she is drowning. And she doesn't want a pep talk. She wants to be alone. So, very sadly, Brooke leaves. Now we head over to Reese's apartment with Reese and Flo. Flo is getting worried and a little upset because she sees that Reese somehow has gotten a fake birth certificate. And this makes her nervous because now he has pulled her into this mess and she could get in trouble too. But of course, Reese always has an answer for everything. And he sweet talks her a little bit, and before you know it, she's going along with his plan. So Reese gives Taylor a call and he lets her know that he needs an answer. He sets up a meeting for Steffi to meet baby Beth and also to meet Flo. When he hangs up the phone, Flo freaks out. She wants to know the whole story. If he expects her to keep helping him, he's going to have to tell her everything. Flo is starting to have second thoughts about this whole thing. And she tells Reese that she is done helping him. She feels like he is using her and that he really has a thing for Taylor. But he insists he wants to be with her. Even calls her baby. Then he almost begs her to keep helping him. And again, she agrees to, but only if he tells her the truth. Reese's answer is that he cannot do that because it's so bad. For once, I totally agree with Reese. It is bad. Once he realizes Flo is not giving in, he finally caves and he tells her the truth, at least some of the truth. And guys, we were all right. Reese admitted that the mystery woman at the clinic, it was her baby that was stillborn and not Beth. So that is Beth for sure. And because there was no staff and there was no paperwork or documents, he just saw his opportunity. And it didn't hurt that the mystery woman didn't want anyone to know and she just left. So Reese remembered Taylor saying money is not a problem when they had lunch and they were discussing Steffi adopting. So he switched the babies. So now we know the truth. He also explains everything about Vegas guy and Zoe and that he had no choice and he has to do this to save his daughter. Reese tells Flo the real mother's name is Hope. And he adds that Hope will never know that her baby is alive. I have to admit I am conflicted. I'm sad because this is so wrong. But at the same time, I do get he wants to protect his daughter. I just feel like there were other options and other things he could have done. But I do see where he feels he has no choice because he doesn't want his daughter killed. Now we go over to the cabin and we see Hope sad and crying and upset. And that's how Tuesday ends. So that brings us in to Wednesday, January the 23rd. The show opens at Steffi's house with Steffi and Taylor. And Steffi is really nervous because adopting is a really big deal and a really big decision. But she is sure that it's what she wants to do. Now we head over to Reese's apartment with Reese and Flo. Flo is very upset that Reese stole the baby. She feels he is trying to justify it in his own mind because he is a doctor. But Flo makes a really good point, and she tells Reese that what he did is no better than what Vegas guy is doing to him right now. He ripped a baby away from its mother and its family. And Reese tries to explain that he felt trapped and he didn't know what to do. But Flo disagrees. She thinks this whole thing is wrong. But Reese, of course, he starts sweet talking her and calling her baby and telling her he's going to be with her when all this is done and he's going to make it up to her. And he talks her into going along with his plan. He always has an answer for everything, and he is very good at manipulating Flo. Actually, I think he's very good at manipulating women in general. And if you remember, that's exactly what Zoe said. Now we head over to the cabin with Hope and Liam. Liam just got home from seeing his dad, Bill, and ever since Hope came home from Catalina, she has been holding and looking at Beth's sonogram picture. Liam thinks that maybe it's not helping her because it's just too painful. And this really upsets Hope. And she says, really? Am I not forgetting fast enough for you, Liam? And of course, this makes Liam feel bad. But Hope feels that Liam doesn't understand because he has another daughter that he can go see, and she doesn't. Honestly, that's true, and there's really nothing Liam can do or say to make any of this better. Now we head back over to Reese's apartment, and as soon as he gets Flo to agree to the plan, Reese immediately calls Taylor and sets up a meeting for this afternoon. Flo is not happy that Reese is leaving the apartment and leaving her by herself to handle all of this. But he insists that he has to keep his name out of this because they are just too connected. Now we head back over to the cabin, and Wyatt has stopped by to check on Liam. And Hope is out walking in the gardens. And Wyatt isn't sure what he should do. If it would be better for Hope if he stayed away or if he should continue to stop by, he doesn't know. Well, Liam lets him know that he wants him to keep stopping by because isolation is not good for either one of them. Then, Liam, needing someone to talk to, I'm sure, spills the tea to Wyatt that Steffi is thinking of adopting and not to bring it up in front of Hope. What Hope doesn't know is that there's a baby Steffi is already interested in. And Wyatt is shocked, for sure. Of course, Wyatt agrees with me. He thinks Steffi's timing really sucks. And he is very worried in her fragile state what this might do to Hope when she finds out. He's very worried that it could really set her back. And Liam agrees. That's why he hasn't told her yet. Now we head over to Il Giardino with Reese and Zoe. Reese is all happy, but he's also acting a little weird at the same time, and Zoe asks if he is okay. He says yes, that he's getting better, and he can finally see the light at the end of the tunnel. Ooh. Gross. So Zoe wants Reese to go see a therapist for the trauma that he went through on the island. Little does she know. But he laughs it off. He just laughs her request off. Then he notices that they are being watched by Vegas Guy. And he is super uncomfortable. Now we head over to the cabin with Liam and Hope. And Hope has returned from her walk. And she feels really bad. And she apologizes to Liam for lashing out at him earlier. And of course, Liam understands, as always. She feels that Beth's memory won't leave her. So why did she? But Liam, of course, cannot answer that question. Now we head back over to Reese's apartment with Flo, Taylor, and Steffi. Taylor and Steffi arrive, and they do introductions. Flo assures Steffi that she is not leaving until she finds a good home for her daughter. So they chit-chat, and Steffi tells Flo about her lifestyle and her work, and about Kelly, and then Beth starts crying. So it's time for Steffi to meet the baby. Now, when Flo walks off to the bedroom, Steffi does comment to Taylor that she finds it a little bit odd that Flo doesn't really have any questions for her. But Taylor just kind of brushes it off and says, well, I told her a lot about you already. And Taylor assures Steffi that once she holds the baby, she will know what to do. And of course, as soon as she sees Beth and holds her, she falls completely in love with her instantly. And by the way, this baby that they cast is adorable. Oh my goodness, so cute. And that's how Wednesday ends. So that brings us into Thursday, January the 24th. The show opens at Reese's apartment with Taylor, Steffi, and Florence. Florence is assuring Steffi that the father is completely out of the picture, so nothing to worry about on that front. Then, Beth starts crying, so Flo takes her to the bedroom, and it's obvious that Steffi is in love, and so is Taylor. Now we head over to the cabin with Wyatt and Liam. Wyatt has stopped back by again because he forgot his phone. And Wyatt admits that he cannot stop thinking about Steffi adopting and what it might do to Hope. And then Liam reminds Wyatt that he told him that in confidence. But Wyatt assures him he won't say anything, especially to Hope. Then, Wyatt is the very first person to ask, I wonder where she got a baby so fast. Finally, someone is thinking, this seems a little strange, especially the timing. Wyatt wants to know how Liam really feels about the situation. And finally, Liam admits that it is all happening so fast, he hasn't had a chance to process it. He feels that it's a little weird, especially the timing. And Wyatt assures him it's okay to feel upset about it. And Liam explains that he doesn't even know what he's feeling. His emotions are all over the place. Poor Liam. He keeps going over and over it in his mind. Could he have done something different? Could he have gotten to Hope sooner? Could he have done anything to change the situation? But Wyatt assures him that there was nothing he could have done. It's fate. Well, little do they know, fate has a name, Reese. I feel so sorry for Liam. And he finally starts to let some of his emotions out. And Wyatt encourages him. He says, let it out. You need to let it out and talk about it. So Liam admits he isn't crazy about the adoption. He can't wrap his head around having another baby, a sister for Kelly, that's not Beth. And I agree. I feel like Steffi is being so insensitive. But then you have to remember it's Liam. And Liam is forever the nice guy. So he feels conflicted. Because if it's good for Kelly, then how can he be against it or not support it? Now we head over to Il Giardino with Reese and Zoe. Zoe walked away from their table to find their waiter, and Vegas guy approaches Reese. He reminds him that his time is up. And then Zoe comes back and sees them together. But of course, Reese plays it off like they are old colleagues. But Zoe is definitely suspicious. Reese insists he's not in trouble. Not in any trouble at all, and that he loves her and would do anything to protect her. Now we head back to Reese's apartment. Steffi asks Flo if she would bring the baby to see her house and to meet Kelly and Liam. Flo agrees. She says that won't be a problem. And Steffi assures her if this works out, she will give her baby the best life and home she can. And then Steffi and Taylor leave. A couple minutes later, Reese arrives back to the apartment. And Flo explains everything that happened while he was gone. And Reese assures Flo that he will make this up to her after this is all over for helping him. He is so happy because he knew Steffi would fall in love with the baby. And Flo tells him that she is sure Steffi will adopt this baby. She tells him that it was a very sweet moment that Steffi had with the baby. It was almost like it was meant to be. And then Reese says, it was. And I just want to scream at my TV. Now we head over to Steffi's house with Taylor and Steffi. They've arrived home, and Steffi tells Taylor that she is definitely going to adopt this little girl. That it just felt right, and that she is all in. So Steffi is really excited and happy, And she calls Liam and she tells him what's going on. And he is surprised that everything is happening so fast. And she explains that she met the mother and she's really considering doing this. And of course, because Liam is a very sweet guy, he tells Steffi he's fine with meeting the baby because it's the best thing for Kelly. Steffi tries to explain that when she saw her, she felt like she already knew her. And Liam is happy for her and Kelly. So they hang up and Steffi tells Taylor that she can't stop thinking about the baby. And when she looked at her, she knew. She just knew that this baby is meant to be Kelly's sister and a member of their family. And that's how Thursday ends. I know that this is making a lot of people crazy because they are sisters. Okay, guys, that brings us into Friday, January the 25th. I'm sorry to say, but it gets worse, so please don't shoot the messenger. Here we go. The show opens at Steffi's house with Taylor and Steffi, and they are discussing how this adoption seems like it was meant to be, and how now Phoebe's legacy will live on. And they are so happy. And poor Steffi. I just think, oh my goodness, she is going to be crushed when the truth comes out. Now we head over to Reese's apartment with Reese, Flo, and Beth. Reese is super excited and happy that Flo is pulling this whole farce off. He makes sure to remind her how important this is to him and his daughter. Now we head over to Forrester Creations in the side office with Zoe, Emma, and Tiffany. And I was unaware that they are now friends. That's news to me. As far as I knew, they weren't really getting along that well, but now they seem like besties. So Zoe is rushing Emma and Tiffany because they have an audition for a TV show and they cannot be late. They're laughing and joking, and Liam walks into the office, and they immediately get quiet, and Emma tells him how sorry they are for him and Hope. And Liam, being the sweet guy that he is, asks Zoe how her father is doing, and Zoe is touched that Liam would even ask. She admits she thinks that night has affected him way more than he will admit. Back at Steffi's house, Taylor calls Reese to tell him that Steffi has decided to adopt Florence's baby. Then Reese tells her that they have to sign some paperwork, and then there's the little issue of payment for the adoption. So Taylor wants to know how much, and he tells her $250,000. As anyone would be, Taylor is surprised by the amount, a little taken aback. But Reese has an answer for everything. This guy is so good. Flo needs the money to get her life back on track because she has debts. And he needs the rest of the money to pay for the adoption. He also tells Taylor he needs a down payment of $50,000 in cash brought to him ASAP. Now everybody just wait 1 second. Hello, Taylor. None of this seems suspicious to you? I'm watching this and I'm thinking, how is none of this suspicious to you? Why would someone need $50,000 in cash immediately? Wow. I'm like, how come no one finds any of this suspicious? But of course, Taylor agrees that she'll do anything for Steffi. So she agrees to go to the bank and to bring the money to him, no problem. We also learn that Flo is on her way to Steffi's house with the baby. So Steffi gives Liam a call to see if he can come over so they can talk, and also because she needs to show him something. So Liam agrees. He says, sure, no problem. I'll be there in just a little bit. Back over at Reese's apartment with Taylor and Reese, Taylor shows up with the money for Flo. And Reese informs Taylor that he has been offered a transfer. And after what happened on Catalina, he is really thinking about taking it. but that he will very, very much miss her. And Taylor is surprised and I think also a little sad. She feels that he has really brought a lot of happiness to her life, even though they've only known each other for a very short time. Still, no red flags, no alarm bells. He's immediately gonna skip town as soon as he gets the money. Wow. So they chit-chat for a few minutes and then Taylor leaves. Then Reese immediately calls Vegas guy and tells him that he has $50,000 and he will have the rest really soon. But to Reese's horror, Vegas tells him that it's too late. His time is up. And he hangs up the phone. Reese, of course, panics, freaks. He calls Zoe immediately to find out exactly where she is. Then he heads out to the audition where Zoe, Emma, and Tiffany are. Apparently, they're auditioning for a talent type show because they are practicing their song that they are going to sing together. And by the way, they sound amazing. Really, really good. So at the audition, Zoe, Emma, and Tiffany have no idea that they are being watched by Vegas. So soon, Reese arrives and he sees Vegas watching the girls. And honestly, Reese is freaking out. Now we head back to Steffi's house with Flo, Steffi, and Beth. Flo arrives and she is playing her role to perfection. She's saying all the right things. And it's really making Steffi feel good about her decision. She even offers to leave so that Liam and Steffi can have an hour together with the baby. This upset me because I was really hoping that Flo would be there when Liam came. And then they would talk and Steffi would probably say, you know, how's Hope? And then I was hoping she would put two and two together and realize, oh wow, this is the dad of the baby and he's, you know, falling apart. Maybe it would make her feel guilty, I guess. But that's not what happens. She leaves before Liam gets there. So Liam arrives to see what's up with Steffi and to see what she has to show him. So Steffi explains everything and she asked if he wants to meet the baby and he says sure. But you can tell that he's upset. And she brings the baby out and it's very obvious that this is really hard for Liam. But he is also really falling in love with the baby at the same time. So Liam holds the baby and he immediately feels a connection to her. He says that this baby feels like she already belongs in their lives. And she even looks a little like Kelly. And I'm like, oh, this is so freaking cruel. So cruel. So basically, Liam fell in love with the baby instantly, just like Taylor and Steffi did. And he's actually really happy for Steffi and Kelly. And he thanks Steffi for bringing this beautiful little girl into their lives. And that's how Friday ends. Liam fell in love with his own child. That is just cruel. So let's break this down. Reese is out of time, and I'm worried for Zoe. Reese's plan is working, but the whole reason he did it was to save Zoe. So if in the end it doesn't save Zoe and he did all this for nothing, I'm going to have to go to one of those anger management places where you get to destroy stuff. Have y'all heard of those? You get to go to this place and you just get to destroy things to get your anger out. I'm going to need to go to one of those ASAP. Steffi, Liam, and Taylor are all already in love with the baby. They all just immediately fell in love with the baby. And Liam felt a connection to the baby. And the whole thing's cruel to me. Another thing, I think Hope is going to completely lose her, you know what? I think she is going to completely go mental when she finds out that Steffi adopted a baby and it's like the same age as her baby. I think she is not going to handle that well. So we have Vegas guy going after Zoe. He is no longer going to be patient. Reese is rushing there to try to stop it. And I don't know if he will or not. I guess we will see soon. Wyatt and Sally are extremely happy and in love. Katie and Thorne seem to be happy and in love. But some strange things are going on. I don't know. I just got a feeling that there's going to be some trouble for Katie and Thorne soon. I am also wondering what they're going to do with Donna. They've brought her back, but I am not sure why or what they plan to do with her. So hopefully all this will play out soon. I'm curious if they're done with the Donna, Quinn, Eric triangle. I guess we'll see. So that brings us to the end of the episode. And I really, really want to know what you guys think about all of this, about everything. Send me your comments, feedback, predictions. I'm very, very curious where the story's going from here. I also am curious about how the truth is going to come out. So I'd love to know how you think the truth is going to come out. You can get in touch with me at theboldandbeautifulpodcast.com. I'm also on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Please don't forget to check out The Bold and Beautiful Rewind with James Lott Jr. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed the podcast, please give me a 5-star rating on whatever podcast directory you use. Your support is so greatly appreciated. I will be back in your ears next week. Until then, bye guys.